Okay, get serious here. Welcome back. Many people are on a fixed income and they are highly concerned with inflation. So here to tell us more about that and hopefully ease the minds of our viewers, we welcome Jerry Schlutzowitz with Pacific Financial Planners. Jerry, always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me, Priya. I'm really glad to be here.
Glad you're back. So let's just get right on into this. Prices have risen dramatically on just about everything since COVID, right? It's hard for people to even pay for groceries. Right. And sometimes eggs are up to like $8 a carton?
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy. Can this continue?
Well, the true answer is people don't know. We really don't know. But yes, it probably will continue. Inflation, which is, the definition is too much money chasing too few goods, is something that happens, something like 48 of the last 50 years and probably longer than that, which means prices keep rising. And part of it after COVID was we shut down, so we weren't manufacturing anything all over the world, we weren't shipping anything, so supply became constrained, and then people were still making money because there was all those bailouts and things like that.
Right.
And then once everything opened up, the supply wasn't there, and there was more money because people were staying home, stuck at home, and they started chasing it. In addition, there were some policy decisions about gas and fuel prices, that we don't have enough refineries, so gas prices rose dramatically, and that made shipping costs, go higher. And then things like eggs, like you mentioned, you're right. Egg prices, this is the new gold. These little nuggets now cost, a little dozen here, I got it this morning, $8 for a dozen of medium eggs. These are like gold nuggets.
And they're tiny. They're not even the jumbo eggs.
No, because I didn't want to spend more on those for today. But but these were $8.
And I kind of just pulled that number out of the sky.
You're exactly right.
$7.99.
I paid for it just a half hour ago. And the thing is that
you're right. It is better than champagne.
Yeah. The thing is though, Bree, is that. We've killed more birds because of the bird flu, because of the bird flu. And so I think it was like 20 million, the most in the last quarter, never in history. It's a safety thing. And so now people are going, well, when are those prices going to come down? That was your question.
Right.
And the thing is until we can grow full-size chickens that can start laying eggs, it's going to be a while. And so prices are rising. And people go, well, inflation is down. Well, the rate of inflation is down. So consumer price index is today, and then producer price index tomorrow. It's around 3%, which means that prices are now rising 3% year over year versus 10% year over year 2 years ago. That means like if you go and buy $1,000 worth of goods, 2 years ago went up to $1,100 for the same basket of goods. Now that $1,100 is up 3% more, so like $1,133 more for the same goods. So prices aren't really coming down, and they probably won't. It's just the rate that they're going up. So these are little nuggets of gold, and I got these for you. As
those are
gift.
for me.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's like gold. So.
Did you know I have a hard-boiled egg for breakfast every morning?
There you go. Well, you might have to have 3 because these are pretty small,
wow.
like you said.
Goodness. So let's talk about our viewers. Are they concerned about being at risk for running out of money?
They have to be, because you and I, we're still making an income, and incomes rise commensurate with that. Yes, Social Security has an inflation hedge to it, but they use the consumer price index, which is a basket of goods that people like 18 to 55 use. There's a senior inflation component, but the government doesn't use that to index Social Security, meaning give them a raise based on senior costs. Mm-hmm. Medical costs keep rising, they're not coming down. Right. Cost of drugs and other things. Their costs rise quicker than the average person's cost. And they don't have a job that's gonna give them a raise. And Social Security was never meant to cover all their expenses. So they've got to figure out where they're gonna cut or how they're gonna get more money to pay for everything for fear of running out of money before they pass.
Is there a solution to that?
Well, you've got to really take a good look at your finances and your investments and make sure that you're actively managing it. A lot of people just put their head in the sand and they say, well, we don't know what's going to happen. Jerry just got done saying he doesn't know what's going to happen with inflation, so I'll just keep it the same. No, there's things you could and should do to protect against rising prices.
Can you give us an example?
Well, the first and most important thing is to make sure your cash flow is coming from dividends and interest, meaning that you're earning it without selling anything in your portfolio. I'm going to use the example again. You have chickens laying the eggs, right? So if you could eat the eggs and not kill any chickens, like eat the interest and dividends from your portfolio and not sell your stocks, your mutual funds, those are the chickens,
right,
then your money's going to last because the eggs could last forever. The minute you start diving into your principal and start selling shares of your stocks or mutual funds to live off of, then you fear running out of money. The other thing is you just don't want to take losses. I mean, a lot of people have way too much money in the stock market, and if the market after 2 great years somehow starts to go down and you have a 20% decline, now you have less chickens or principal producing the income. So you've got to use something like stop losses or secured investments. A lot of people say, hey, I don't like to take risk. I got my money in the bank, and that's the way it's going to work. Well, that's good. I mean, it could work for some people, but most people, they'll go out and buy a CD or a treasury bill, and they'll buy one. They should stagger those maturities out, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. Why? Because if interest rates go up, then they can, every 3 months, they have a liquidity event, they could draw money out, but if they don't use it all, they can buy in at the higher rates. And if rates go down, then they've got all that money that they have staggered out still stuck at the higher rates. They don't have to guess which way rates are going to go. But people don't know how to use those tax, so what I say is get a second opinion. Don't put your head in the sand, and get it reviewed and say, hey, I want to inflation-proof my portfolio.
That seems like it might be a little complicated to do on your own. So you kind of walk them through the process?
Yeah, again, we have the financial forum that does that, and I do it, on a one-on-one basis. It's free. There's no obligation. No one has to do business with me or anything like that. I just help people. But, can you do it on your own? Sure, but you really kind of have to know what you're doing. And unless you have the time, the temperament, the talent, and the interest, you know what I mean?
Right.
You're probably not going to do it. It's better to just go see somebody. But this is not the time to be complacent because
right,
we don't know what's going to happen. The Fed thought, okay, things are going to start to settle down. They didn't cut rates last time. There's probably going to be fewer cuts this year, if any. So it really is a concern for people on a fixed income.
So is that what you would recommend for people to protect themselves from the dangers of inflation?
Yeah, I mean, there's inflation-protected investments. Like I said, once you calculate how much interest income you need and dividend income, if you have extra principal left over, you should create a replacement fund. Put some money out there that will grow, that has very good security, and then that way there, a year, 2 years, 5 years down the road, that growth you can pull off to help pay for the higher costs 2 to 5 years down the road. And so, I talk about buckets of money as well. So there's a lot of things you could do, and it's a combination of doing a little bit of all of it that will make a difference for seniors.
So people need to be proactive, and they can come to your meeting Thursday 13th?
Yeah, it's supposed to be raining, but, try to make it
okay.
out. We won't melt.
We won't melt. We need the rain.
Yeah, we do.
So give us a little bit of information on your meeting, the Financial Forum Club.
Well, we're going to talk about this inflation protection type investments. That's basically what we're going to do because people are concerned about running out of money. And one of the biggest things is this inflation that seems to be very persistent. And it's scary that it may not go away, just like you started with.
Okay. So come see you. I mentioned March. It's actually February 13th, correct?
Yes.
The next meeting.
It's a couple of days. Yeah.
Clubhouse 7.
Clubhouse 7, 3 to 5. Free. You don't have to sign up. You don't have to RSVP. If you have questions and you don't know who to ask, just show up. You don't have to sign in. You don't have to do anything. If you want to participate, it's a lot of like-minded, very smart people here in the village that are giving their views on what they think is going on in the markets, and it's a great forum.
All right, from Pacific Financial Planners, Jerry Schlutzwitz. Thank you for the eggs.
Yeah.
Very
Have a good one.
generous.
There you go.
Thank you.
All right.
We'll be back after these messages.